if you're going to go to a Phillies game, don't start an Eagles chant. If you start an Eagles chant at a Phillies game, your fan card should be revoked. I'm sorry. If you participate, your fan card's revoked. You're not a Phillies fan. And when they win, I don't want you to be a part of it. Hello, and welcome back, everyone, to episode number 4 of 2 On, 2 Out, a Phillies podcast. We are your hosts, Andrew and Bob. Bob, how are you feeling today?
Feeling pretty okay. Just like the Phillies are. We're pretty okay. We're mediocre. We had a 500 homestand, which is what we talked about last time. We hoped, or at least I hoped for, this 500 homestand, and we got that. So, hey, we're still in the running for the NL East. No one's running away with it yet, so I'm pretty content.
I mean, you always feel good about your team when someone can use the word mediocre about them. That's the true sign.
This is my life as a Phillies sports fan, if anything.
Well, yes, the Phillies did go 500 on this homestand. 2 series against some teams we haven't seen in a few years due to last year's schedule shakeup. So first, the St. Louis Cardinals, a classic foe of the Phillies during the height of the late 2000s, early 2010s playoff runs. This time, the Phillies, I guess, get the best of the Cardinals overall in the series. They take 2 out of 3. First game was last Friday night. Phillies offense showed up quite a bit in that game, although they got a little bit of help. The Phillies take that one 9-2. A lot of that run production came in the second inning. The Cardinals on 3 consecutive plays had some miscues. There was a ground ball to Paul DeJong at short, and he slipped on the throw to first. Then there was the ground ball to Matt Carpenter at second, and I don't know if he was trying to get a little fancy or maybe tried to rush the play. Either way, trying to get the double play, and he let the ball trickle into right field. And then I think the one that might be the most egregious, perhaps, is the best word. Maybe there's a better word out there, but I don't have a dictionary handy. There was a fly ball out to center field that the center fielder Williams, I had to look that name up. I apologize, Williams, if you're listening to this. Williams lost the ball in the sky, and it drops in center field. The Phillies score a run. They go on to score 5 more there. We had Gene Segura got the double on that fly ball. Eflin gets hit by a pitch. Andrew McCutchen singles and Bryce Harper doubles. That's how the Phillies score their 6 runs in that inning. Later on, JT Realmuto would hit a home run. In the end, Zach Eflin goes 7 innings, gives up 2 earned runs, and those 2 earned runs came because he tried to come out for the 8th inning, gives up a double and a home run, and then Joe Girardi pulls him. And then following Eflin, Connor Brogdon, and Brandon Kinsler come in, give up no runs, close out the game. So game 1 is a win for the Phillies. Bob, any takeaways from that game?
Well, first of all, Mother Nature hates Bryce Harper. Robbed Bryce of 2 home runs.
Yes.
The wind knocked the one down in the first inning in right field at the wall, and then in the 4th inning, just at the warning track, it dies in left center. But we did ruin Nolan Arenado's 30th birthday, which when I heard he was turning 30, I was like, great. Me and him are the same age, and we're in separate places in our lives, right? If people always say, "Are you Nolan Arenado?" No. I'm Bob. I do a podcast with Andrew. So
it's a classic mistake.
It's a classic mistake.
I mean, people see you at the ballpark all the time. It's easy to easy to confuse you guys. I completely understand.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes you also need a little luck to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, that there's 3 just really random back-to-back plays, and center field. We'll get to it later, but center field was an adventure this homestand on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was.
I'm glad you brought up Bryce because I did not write that down on my notes here, but yeah, we talked about it as it happened. Yeah, Bryce, had that been a warmer night or a less windy night, yeah, Bryce would have been walking away with at least 2 home runs, and he already had the double. So, but I don't think it hurt him too much because as we'll talk about a little bit later, Bryce has been off to a pretty darn good start this year. So,
It was
but
a great game
unfortunately,
all around.
yeah, but unfortunately, in the next game, the team themselves weren't all too hot. We started off. Matt Moore gave up walks to the first 2 hitters in that game. By the way, the final score of that one: Cardinals 9, Phillies 4 on a chilly Saturday afternoon. I know because I was freezing, and yet I stuck it out through all 9 innings because I am a glutton
You're
for
a man.
punishment.
You're a manly man. We all know this.
Well, I'm a glutton for punishment, and or I'm an idiot. So Matt Moore walks the first 2 batters that he faces in that game. Caleb Coughlin comes out and gives him a little pep talk. And for the next 5 or 6 batters, he regained his composure and set them down in order. I remember being there with my buddy Matt, and we kind of noted. Sometimes I wonder what goes on in these pitching meetings or mound visits because a lot of times it seems to work, and I don't know what could go on in that 20-second conversation that could completely
Hey Matt,
change.
you're a pitcher. You do better stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
thanks,
that's
coach.
I mean that's basically what we said. What else could have been said other than hey, throw a strike? Like but you know what, guys might need a little just pep talk or whatever in the moment, and it helps out. And it, like I said, it helped Matt Moore out for the next inning and a half or so. But in the 3rd inning, it all unraveled. He ends up giving up 5 earned runs, 5 walks to the Cardinals. I believe they scored 6 overall. Jojo Romero comes in and does not fare much better. He gives up 3 earned runs total in just a third of an inning pitched. From that point on, Vince Velasquez, David Hale, and Hector Neris all come in. They combine for 6 innings pitched with no runs allowed. The Cardinals leave that day with 4 home runs. Both cases, they were back-to-back home runs, both times including Yadier Molina, who doesn't seem to be losing his power or anything at the plate. I think when they left town, he was still hitting well over 300, and those were home runs number 3 and 4 for him on the year. On the Phillies side, Alec Boehm had 2 RBIs that game, but just overall not the best showing for the team on that Saturday. Did you pick out anything from that game that was worth noting, or
A couple things. Just the stop me if you heard this before, but the offense struggled again. Young season, 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, 11 men left on base, 13 strikeouts. That was the 9th time this season that they had over 10 strikeouts. That was their 14th game of the year, and they struck out over 10 times, 9 of those 14. Harper didn't play; he hurt his back,
right?
So they missed him. But I'm done with Matt Moore. I'm ready to give Spencer Howard a chance in the rotation. Also, I have a couple names who are free agents. Let me run them by you, Andrew, to see if you would prefer any of these guys over Matt Moore.
I bet I recognize one of them pretty well.
Rick Porcello.
That's the one. No, that's not really the one.
Mike Leake.
Okay.
Or I don't know if you heard this guy. He used to play here. I think he won a World Series with us. I don't remember. Let's see if we get the name right. Cole Hamilles.
Great. That was excellent. Some people struggle to get that name out there. And Bob, I mean, Nolan, I'm sorry, I forget who you were, but that was a great job pronouncing that name because it's not easy.
Did I get it right? The name?
Oh, King Cole Hamels. That's a few times I've heard his name floated out there. Would you like me to give my opinions first, or would you like to?
Yes,
okay.
I would.
I am staying away from Cole Hamels. He was injured. I mean, he missed all last year with an injury. Braves gave him money. Mm-hmm. Although maybe it was all an elaborate plan for Mr. Hamels to get the Braves to pay him and to do nothing because he did not pitch. Did he pitch at all for them? I don't think he did.
For the Braves?
Yeah.
He played a game. I think he had a couple of innings, and then he hurt his shoulder in spring training, and then they were trying to rehab it while they were on break. I think he played like one game with only a few innings. He re-aggravated it, and he never pitched again that season.
Yeah, I don't know. He's older.
Yeah, he's 37.
Yeah, and injury concerns because I think he was hurt before that too. I think he was hurt before the shoulder thing. I don't know. It just seems to all be adding up on an aging body, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not
Not on board.
yeah, I'm not on board for the reunion. I'm curious though for the other two. I'm assuming you have some cool statistics to throw at us, so I'm
I mean,
ready to
I
hear
would
them.
prefer any of these three over Matt Moore right now because he's just not getting it done. Actually, the guy I like most of these three is Mike Leake. 33 years old. He had a combined ERA of 4.29 in 2019. He played with Seattle and Arizona. I don't believe he played last year. I think he set out the year. Rick Porcello, I would take him over Matt Moore right now, but he had an ERA over 5 the last couple of years he's pitched. He had the anomaly in 2016 where he won Cy Young. Yeah, I mean, if they brought him in, I think, like I said, he'd be a better option right now with Matt Moore not giving you anything. But I would lean towards Leak first, then probably Hamels, then probably Purcell.
Well, I will. I'll agree off the bat that I think Matt Moore's time in Philly is probably done, and I know it sounds like we're complaining very early because he's only his third start, but yeah, it's a shame too because in spring training he had a couple starts where it was like, wow, okay, maybe he's got a little bit of that edge back that he had early in his career, but it has not worked out,
and even Spencer Howard. I like to see Spencer Howard get a shot.
Well, yeah, and I think that's where I was going to head next. Is I right now they're going with Vince Velasquez out in Colorado, which we'll talk about later when we look ahead. But yeah, I would like to see Spencer Howard get starts rather than be coming out of the bullpen like he has. And I think right now he's in the bullpen just out of necessity rather than that being where they want him. But going back to your free agent list, I'd like to hold off a little bit longer. Let's get closer to the summer months before we, just because, like you said, we have Spencer Howard, and apparently we're going to give Vince Velasquez his shot at the rotation again. So, I don't think those are any names that are going to be heavily sought after just yet. I don't know of anyone that's desperate for, and I don't think we're desperate per se for starting pitching either because. We've got our top 3 guys. Wheeler's got his things he might have to work through, but right now they're a solid top 3. And Chase Anderson, I mean, he's looked pretty okay for a 4th or 5th starter. So I think there's just one spot that's up for grabs right now, and I'm okay with hopefully eventually getting Spencer Howard in there. And then if we want to talk a little more about starting pitching, we can head into Sunday's game where the Phillies were able to take the series. They defeated the Cardinals 2-0 in that one. In the first inning, Bryce Harper hit a 425-foot home run into the second deck. Yeah, it was an absolutely beautiful swing. That went into the second deck in right field, and it turns out that would be the only run the team needed because Aaron Nola throws his first, I'm going to call it his first career complete game shutout. He had one last year that was 7 innings, and even he himself said it really didn't count in his own head. So he seemed pretty relieved to get it done. He walks away with obviously 9 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed. Yeah, I mean that's as dominant as a start as you can ask for out of your ace, and I think he earned the title ace. There always are questions about his is he an ace or is he a high number 2. I still consider him an ace. It was a hell of a performance, and maybe something that'll propel him into a pretty nice long streak as we get into the hotter weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean he was phenomenal. He was the best I've seen him probably ever. I'm sure somebody could be like, "Yeah, he was better at this game." Okay, whatever. He was in my recent memory. That was the best I've ever seen him. And we need that kind of performance, and hopefully we get those out of all three of those top guys. We can have the debate. We'll probably debate this all season of who's the ace of the staff, because I really think that Eflin has done a really good job. We'll get to his start later on, but we needed that kind of game for Noah to bounce back and give us this series win. But again, don't want to be negative Nancy, but that seems to be my title here. Only 6 hits for the Phillies that day. I know they didn't need much offense with Noah cruising. 3 of those hits came from Harper, 1 from JT, 2 from Segura. They were 9 left on base and 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. I keep waiting for like an extended streak of this offense to come alive for longer than a game here or there. Hopefully we get that with the weather, like you said, heating up later in the summer.
Well, yeah, and it could help when they head out to Colorado next. That gigantic ballpark.
They always have fun games in Colorado. There's always
Yeah.
interesting offensive games.
Yeah.
There's the give me to the plate game with Ryan Howard. There's always fun games in Colorado that I'm looking forward to seeing them play this weekend.
Absolutely. In between the Cardinals and that Rocky series we're talking about, the Phillies did play the San Francisco Giants, and that meant that, yes, another team that probably even more so than the Cardinals really made themselves a villain here in Philadelphia during those peak years of this team, in the 2010 area. But it also marked the return of your favorite manager and mine, Gabe Kapler. Brought his team back to Philadelphia. It was his first time back since leaving after the 2019 season. That game did not go well for the Phillies. Giants take that one 2-0. Chase Anderson got the start for the Phillies there. Goes 4 innings, could have gone longer. Gives up 2 earned runs. I say he could have gone longer because in the bottom of the 4th inning, bottom of the 5th inning, I can count. He got pulled because Alec Boehm walked, Gene Segura doubled. So they had guys in second and third with nobody out, and with the offense being as barren as it has been, and then Nick Maton making his debut, by the way, and Mickey Moniak striking out, it was Chase Henderson's turn to bat, and Joe Girardi felt that he needed to do something to try to get some offense going. Puts in Brad Miller, and I believe Brad Miller also struck out, so didn't come up with any runs there. They wouldn't score any more runs the rest of the game. On the flip side, the Phillies bullpen also kept the Giants quiet the rest of that game, but the Phillies do come away with a loss. I know, Bob, you could use this game as a springboard for bringing the DH into the National League.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was. Anderson probably could have gone another inning or two, and had a really solid. Would have really had a solid. I mean, he still did have a solid start. It was only 4 innings, but I think we all know he could have gone longer. Not sure there was a ton to take away from this one, other than Nick Maton making his debut and getting that first hit of his career. That was cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, there was that wild catch by Moniak in the second, where I think he mouthed afterwards, I didn't think I had a chance.
Yeah.
He lost it, and luckily he used Harper and Kutch to kind of line himself up to where the ball was. But he has good closing speed. We'll see that later on in the series with another catch of his. But he did recover. It was kind of awkward, but he did get it. Offenses still struggled. I think this is the game where you texted me about the bottom 3 of the lineup being like all pitchers. I think that's what you said.
Essentially, because like I said, Nick Maton's debut, Mickey Moniak in the center field, and then the pitcher spot. Yeah, it just well, just to give everybody an idea of why Maton was starting, Didi, I think it was in the Sunday game, made a catch or landed trying to make a catch on his throwing arm and was banged up a little bit. Yeah. It sounded at first like he would only miss that one game, but he ended up missing the entire Giants series. So hopefully we don't see him on the DL soon. But yes, going back to your original point, Maton, Moniak, and the pitcher spot wasn't anything formidable in my eyes.
No, I think I calculated the box score. I think with those three plus pinch hitters, they were combined 1 for 11
Yeah.
that game. So
Yeah.
not great. Although they ran into a very hot Kevin Gausman. He's kind of
Yes.
the ace of the Giants staff.
Mhm.
He had a 2.45 ERA, so he's not too bad of a pitcher as Kevin Gausman. So you got to give props to him. But yeah, you talked about Chase. He hasn't gone past 5 innings in any of his 3 starts. He threw 70 pitches, so he probably could have went maybe an inning or two. But he does throw a lot. He throws I think I looked up his last couple of games. He's thrown between 70 and 80 something pitches, only making it through 5 once. So it's not. It's weird. It's not great that he's doing it, but he's only given up 2 runs each of those 3 starts. So he's not hurting you. He's hurting you in a way where you have to use your bullpen more, but he's not like Matt Moore it up where he's only lasting a couple of innings and giving up 6 runs.
Yeah.
So I'm so with Anderson. He's doing an adequate job. No need to panic about him. I wish he could stretch it out a little bit longer, at least get to 6, so we can shorten that bullpen up because you hope the top 3 have strong games, but we've seen them struggle. So I would like to keep the bullpen as fresh as possible moving on. But like I said, Nick Maton had his first big league hit. Also, it was Gene Segura had his 200 double. We had a nice slide to avoid the tag. And there was a nice ovation for him. So very, very wild game, and with the catch, and it was just kind of a weird one where it was like I just wish the offense was more consistent and we would have won that game.
Yeah, I mean, if the Phillies just had scored 3 runs scattered throughout the game somewhere, they would have taken that one. They held the Giants in check to just those 2 runs, but it wasn't meant to be. So they dropped that first game of the series, and they ended up dropping the second one as well. Giants come away with the win there, 10-7. Nick Maton, like we said, he got a hit in his debut in that first game. And in this game, he gets his first RBI, hits an RBI double down the right field line, which ends up scoring Mickey Moniak, who had a hit. I think that was his first hit of the season, right?
His first hit of the season and first hit by a center fielder since April 9th. So it broke an 8-game hitless streak for center fielders. But that was a great little sequence there. The single by Moniak, and then you saw the wheels with how fast he can run from first to home. So it was a nice little maybe future glimpse if these guys can find a way to pan out.
Yeah, it was very quick. Between Mickey getting on base, Maton's hit, it felt like they scored a run there. All within a minute. It was pretty cool.
Speaking of quick, that first pitch of the game was the shot to left center. That's when Moniak had that nice closing speed to make that diving warning track catch.
Yeah, great point.
So I want to see more of Mickey Moniak. I could, just because I'm curious of if he could be a solution for them long term, or if they have to look elsewhere. He was the number 1 overall pick years ago, so I'm just very curious. I know hasn't looked great over his first few days with the big league club this season, but I personally would like to see more of him, just to see what we got.
Well, and as we wrap up the series and we get into Game 3, you'll see. I think with each game he kind of improved. He was a little sluggish with the Cardinals, but as the Giants series went on, he had bigger and bigger things happen, and we'll get more into that as we get into the third game. But to wrap up the second game here, Brad Miller hits a 3-run home run, puts the Phillies up 4-0. And then for the Giants, we get some home runs hit by your friend and mine, Buster Posey, and then another one from Tommy La Stella. But then in the bottom of that inning, Alec Boehm would follow that up with a home run of his own, and then it gives the Phillies a 6-3 lead. And by that point, it felt pretty good. You're in the 5th inning, 6-3 lead. Bullpen has shown that they're capable of closing the door. So, at least in my opinion, I felt pretty good at that point. However, Connor Brogdon comes into the game, who has been solid all year. 15 2/3 scoreless.
15 2/3 scoreless innings.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that would end here. He gives up 3-run home runs to both Alex Dickerson and Wilmer Flores. So suddenly the Giants are up 10-6. And one thing I found interesting, I don't know if you saw this, but I believe it was maybe Jim Salisbury. Somebody did an interview with Connor Brogdon, kind of getting his take on what happened there. Well, it turns out he grew up, minutes away from AT&T Park, minutes away from the Giants. Yeah. So he was kind of shell shocked. He said his changeup was working great in the pen, and then once he came out to the game, it was almost just like kind of when some people meet these celebrities that they love, and you kind of clam up, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe, and that's kind of what happened to him there. He was just the shock of pitching against this team that he. I don't know if he outright said it, but I'm assuming he grew up rooting for. And not that long ago, he's a young guy, so he probably was, at the parades when they won those World Series.
Oh, absolutely.
10, 12,
yeah, and there's still some guys on the team who won the. You have Posey, Belt. You still have guys on this team who won World Series with the club. But yeah, I have a couple of things here. He let up. Those 3 home runs he let up, they're all balls that are high in the zone. The second one by Posey, I think, is more amazing that Posey hit it out. It was sort of high inside, and he had to really get his hands around in there fast. But the first one to Posey and the one to the Stella, those are just hanging, just please hit me fastballs, which he didn't look very sharp. He was missing locations. You can see JT would set up in one area and it would end up in another area. And then I want to ask you a question. How did you feel about Joe's usage of Brogdon? He left him in there for a while. I had the whole sequence of his outing. If you want me to read through that.
Yeah, you go ahead and read it. I have my thoughts, but let's go through the sequence if you like.
So he comes in the eighth. He starts the eighth. He gets Yastrzemski to fly out to left field. Then he gets then Longoria doubles. Then he walks Brandon Belt. Then there's a mound visit. And then right after the mound visit, he gives up the first 3-run home run to Eric Dickerson. Now after that, he gets up a single to Buster Posey. There's another mound visit. And then after that, he gives up another single to Brandon Crawford. And then he gets Slater to ground out. But then he gives up another 3-run home run to Wilmer Flores, and then he gets pulled. So I think he was kept out there a little too long for my liking. What about you?
Well, yeah. So we'll start off with being brought in the eighth inning. I think it was the absolute right move to bring him in there.
Oh yeah,
he's been solid, and we've talked about on our show here that if he can keep this up, he's absolutely in line to be a setup guy and possibly even a closer in the future if his stuff continues to improve.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and I think they even made a mention of it on the broadcast. I distinctly remember Tom McCarthy saying, and me agreeing with this, that Brogdon has earned the right to not only be put in there in a situation like this, but also the chance to get himself out of it. So after that first 3-run home run, I believe the Phillies, it put the Giants ahead. I want to say 7-6, or maybe it was tied 6-6. But either way, I think after that first home run, it made sense to keep him in and let him try to get himself out of it. Rebound from a home run like that in a tight spot. Then after that, it got a little like, okay, what's going on here? Why continue to let him get shelled even more? And that's not to say whoever would have come in would have cleaned up and not given up another home run or any more runs. But yeah, it's weird because Girardi seems to be pretty good about everything when it comes to coaching, but he seems to be pretty good at bullpen management, and that was a little bit confusing. But I think it's also justifiable. You're trying to get this young guy who clearly has the energy and has the stuff, and just trying to get his head right, because let's say he had, come back from that home run and even the next couple base hits or base runners that he allowed, let's say he gets out of it without giving up that home run, I think that's kind of a confidence boost of, hey, maybe I did give some stuff up, but I was able to knuckle down and really, bring things home. It didn't work out, but I'm guessing that was probably Girardi's mentality. There was just try to give this kid some confidence after he gives up a home run like that. But just to close out this game, Hoskins did hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth to make it 10-7, but that would be it. And you brought it up with Wheeler. I have in my notes here. Wheeler did start strong. I think the first 2 innings he threw maybe 20 pitches, 19 pitches. So he started off really well.
He started off really well. I don't think he got his first strikeout until like the third or fourth inning. But yeah, he was pretty solid. He was motoring along, and then I think it's just a few bad locations. You can, if you watch it again, you can see JT you can see him set up elsewhere, and just he hangs those pitches just in the wrong spots. It wasn't a horrible. I wouldn't label it as a horrible outing because I don't think he was all out bad. I just think he made some really bad pitches at really bad times. Which is he wasn't like he didn't have the bases loaded every inning. He just got into a little bit of a jam late in the game and made a few mistakes that cost him dearly.
Yeah. So with that, it sets up the last game of that series yesterday afternoon. The Giants come in with a chance to sweep. Phillies looking to avoid it. Phillies end up eking that one out. They win 6-5. Avoid Gabe Kapler's wrath. Zach Eflin goes 6 innings, giving up just the 1 earned run. Worth noting that there was a 45-minute weather delay. It got pretty nasty and pretty quick. It was great weather. It was sunny out. It was in the 70s, and it felt nice to be at the ballpark. And then within minutes, it was windy. It was getting colder, and you could just tell the skies were about to open up. So, about a 45-minute delay, and both pitchers ended up coming back out after the delay. Before that delay, as we said, Mickey Moniak continued to improve or have better instances coming through each game. He hits his first major league home run. It was a 3-run shot out into left field. It was nice to see. It was nice to see him, contribute in a big way, and that has to be a big confidence boost for a guy, who looked a little lost out there last year when he came up, and these first couple of games didn't produce much. So that's got to be a great feeling for him to hit that. We move ahead to the 7th inning. Brandon Kinsler comes in, looking to continue Eflin's strong start. Unfortunately, he would give up a 3-run home run to fan favorite Darren Ruff, making his return to Philadelphia. Puts a nice shot out in the center field. So that ties things up at 4. And Jojo Romero would come in and try to end that inning. And he almost did, but a rare error by Andrew McCutcheon out in left field, and it wasn't, it wasn't it was a routine fly ball. I mean, there was nothing special about it, and he just flat out dropped it.
Yeah, he even tweeted about it after the game. He said, that's on me." He tweeted something like, "Squeeze the ball, Kutch." He's like, "Yeah, I know. That's on me, and who better?" So he took it in stride.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that you're like, damn.
Yeah. So Romero ends up giving up another run after that. So then we head to the bottom of the 7th where the Phillies are down 5-4, and your superstar Bryce Harper comes through and picks his team up, hits a solo shot out to right center field, just gets over the wall, and it ties the game up at 5, which then leads us into the 9th where we see backup catcher Andrew Knapp come through. He's got runners on first and second with 1 out, and on the first pitch he sees, knocks it out in the left field. Alex Dickerson can't make the throw home. Bryce Harper swipes his hand across home plate and closes out the homestand with a walk-off win. So the Phillies end up going 3-3 on the homestand. Not ideal. I mean, it's better than losing 4 out of 6 or losing 5 out of 6, but
that's true.
You want to win. You want to win every series at home. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. So we'll take 3-3 on the homestand as is. So overall, any big takeaways from you on this 6-game homestand?
I like the fact that Maton and Moniak sort of found more of their stride later on. We talked about the fact they're going out to the day off today. as we're recording, and then they're going off to Colorado. So hopefully they can ride that into Colorado, and maybe we see some more power from the team. Overall, it was like I said, it was a pretty decent homestand. It did what they needed to do to sort of stay in the mix. Luckily for us, no one in the NL East is running away with it. We're like a half game out of first behind the Mets. There's some things I would like to see more of. Obviously, I want to see the offense sort of hit its stride and do them, back to back in multiple occasions, not just like here, there, gone tomorrow. Back talking about if you go back to the first game of the series, a moment that I loved was the fact that you saw Reese walk. He walked at a very key moment, and I want to see more from Reese walking, especially if Joe's going to put him in the 2-hole. Get on base, make people pitch to Bryce Harper, make people pitch to JT Realmuto and Eric Bohm, who had his home run the other day was just an absolute shot. Mm-hmm. That was just I think he has 10 RBIs already. Mm-hmm. I don't know who leads the team. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him right now, but a lot of positives. Not a whole lot of negatives. There was a couple of bad pitches by some guys, but I like where we are, and hopefully we can take it to another level. I will say one more thing. Spencer Howard, I think he deserves a shot in the rotation. We're going to talk about the next series coming up, but he had an inning and a third, scoreless. I think that was a good audition for him to hopefully open some eyes, and hopefully I'd like to see him replace Matt Moore in the rotation.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I'm sure next week when we record, we'll know a little more because we will see Vince Velasquez start out in Colorado. One thing I want to touch on because you brought it up there at the end, just looking at the NL East, to give everybody an idea of what's going on the last week there. The Braves visited the Cubs and Yankees. They took 2-3 from the Cubs, and then they split with the Yanks. So they go 3-2 in the last week. The Mets traveled to Colorado, where they went 2-1, and then they also went and played the Cubs, where they lost 2. I think they play one more tonight. The Nationals welcomed the Diamondbacks into Washington. They go 2-2 there. They also welcome the Cardinals. They take 2-3 against them. So that's 4-3 on that homestand for the Nationals. And then the Marlins welcomed the Giants into Miami, where they took 2-3. Then they split 2 with the Orioles, going 1-1. So yeah, nobody in the East really, making a lot of ground this week. Everybody was 500 or above. And as the standings are right now, there's a game and a half between first and last place. So throw a blanket over the East. There's there's not a ton you can pull from the standings at the moment. These losses hurt, but you also have to remember in context,
it's long season.
Yeah, long season. This division is an absolute juggernaut. We were already seeing that the Marlins and Nationals could be contenders, and the Braves might not be as strong as we thought. So there's a lot going on in this division, and I don't know that we're going to see anybody pull away anytime soon. There's it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be ugly, and losses within the division are going to hurt. But you do have to remember that it is a long season, and there's plenty of time to make things up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just looking ahead to this weekend, the Mets host the Nationals this weekend. The Braves host the D-backs, and the Marlins are out in San Francisco playing the Giants. I'm laughing here because I'm looking at DeGrom, who has an ERA of 0.45 and is 1-1. It's just like how do you not win? Like every start he pitches, he's just been so laser focused and lights out over the last couple of seasons. It's just so funny to see a guy with a ERA under 1 have a loss. And
to bring up somebody that we mentioned earlier in the podcast, wasn't that a problem that Cole Hamels had when he was here, where he was having these lights out starts, and the
Mm-hmm.
Phillies offense just did not support him. And it just, whatever it is, I don't, guys might go into the game thinking, oh, we don't need to put as much effort in. We know that our, Hamels or DeGrom's going to put up these huge numbers, and we don't need to produce as much. But, obviously it hurts when you've got a guy that's got an ERA that low and you're just not winning for him. I do think they ended up winning that game out in Colorado in the top of the 7th or something like that. So
yeah, I think a late comeback by the team. Yeah, but yeah, we're going out to see the Rockies. They're only 6-12 on the season, so hopefully we can take 2 out of 3, if not sweep, out there, and hopefully with the Mets and Nationals battled out enough to where we can. Who knows? Maybe we can be back in first place by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. So one guy that I want to take a look at, we mentioned his name a few times for this homestand because he played so well. Actually, we probably should have mentioned more, but we'll do some justice here. Bryce Harper, your 13-year, $330 million man.
$30, wow.
Yeah.
What a steal.
He made $30 in that, in the time it took me to say that. Actually, he probably made more than that. Just to take a look at his number so far, because he has been unreal to start this season, and that's, putting it bluntly. Taking a look at his Baseball Savant page, which gives some real deep statistics about his season, just to give you an idea of where he where he stands. So his expected slugging percentage, which is when he puts a ball in play, what you're expecting his slugging to be. He's in the 100th percentile, so his expected slugging percentage is as high or higher than anybody else in the league, and I mean that's incredible. Expected batting average, 99th percentile. So again, right up at the top. When he puts the ball in play, you're expecting him to get a hit. He's up in the top 97th percentile for barrel percentage, which means when he is making contact, he's hitting it in the sweet spot, and he's hitting the ball the way you want to hit a baseball. His walk percentage, 98th percentile, so he's doing a fantastic job of seeing pitches as they come in, knowing when to work the walk. I made note yesterday. I noticed I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but he was walking as much as he was striking out. And actually, I think he got a walk yesterday, so I believe it's now higher. He is walking more than he's striking out of the plate. So, I mean, right now you are seeing a Bryce Harper that we haven't seen before. I'm taking a look at his numbers compared to seasons before. Those numbers that I mentioned to you, they're all higher than any numbers he's had at any point in his career. Wow. Now it is early. I mean, we are 3 weeks into the season. Yeah. But just to be off that massive of a start, I mean,
because his MVP year he was crazy. He hit 42 home runs that season, his MVP year.
Yeah.
So if he can be better than that would be amazing. I know there was talk of maybe this is a MVP year for Bryce Harper. This is earlier in the winter, and then we didn't really talk about him much as far as being an MVP candidate in our first episode. Did we possibly short shrift our own right fielder?
Could be. I think we were both of the same mind that he was an all-star caliber player, and will be for quite a few more years now. But I don't think either one of us saw an MVP type season. Maybe right on the cusp, get a couple top 10 votes, but I don't think either one of us saw it being a legitimate shot. And again, early, but keeping up at least some of these numbers, or a high percentage of them. It's talk about a guy that can carry an offense. It's a shame that guys in a lot of cases aren't getting one ahead of him, or aren't setting him up for the big moments. But just think of yesterday. I mean, yes, they ended up winning, but he hit that solo home run, I believe, with 2 outs. So neither of the guys ahead of him were able to get on to have it be a 2-run home run or a 3-run home run, whatever. But he still went up there, did the job, tied the team up, put the team on his back, and set things up later. I think he walked in the ninth ahead of Knapp to set up that walk off. So it's he clearly is doing something right. I don't know if anything changed over the offseason. Maybe working on his back like he did help things out. But yeah, we seem to be on a pretty good path right now.
I have one more question with Harper, and we can move on. Do you think the Phillies would need to make the playoffs, or at least be in the running for a playoffs for him to possibly, if we get to that point, win an MVP? Because I know Ryan Howard won an MVP in 2007, and there was a lot of not hate, but I remember Pujols was mad about it because we weren't. He won in 2006. Sorry.
Yeah.
When he won the MVP in 2006, I know there was a lot of fuss about it. I remember Pujols being upset that a guy from a non-playoff team won the MVP. How much do you think that matters? I know we're a ways off. It's only the end of April, but just to play devil's advocate, how much do you think that would matter?
Yeah, to me, it's shouldn't be a huge deal. But you have to remember the people that are voting on this are, I think, still of an old school mindset. So, they're going to see if the Phillies were to not make the playoffs and Bryce keeps up, numbers like this, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt him. I think in that vote count, again, I don't know that it should, but it probably would. What should be looked at more? Are the statistics. Is this guy, again, case in point yesterday, he came up in a situation, he can't do anything about McCutchen and Reese not getting one ahead of him. He can't go up there and bat for them.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he still came up and hit that home run in a big spot. So, how do you account for that if, the team are, how can you take away from a guy because the people around him aren't performing?
Mm-hmm. I get it.
He can only do so much at the plate, and
Mm-hmm.
I it might be fair to at least consider that. Let's say he has the same numbers, him and I don't know, someone else let's say him and someone else in Freddie Freeman, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they put up the exact same numbers. Braves make the playoffs, Phillies don't. In that case, they probably give it to Freddie Freeman. And I think in a case like that, if their numbers are so similar and one team makes the playoffs and one team doesn't, then I could see giving it to Freddie Freeman. But that's just on pure, whatever word you want to use. It's
I have some thoughts and I have some opinions, but I will save that for hopefully the end of the season, or towards the end of the season when hopefully it is a thing. Hopefully Harper is in the MVP race, and I will share my opinions because I do think we can have a more lengthy discussion about this
for sure.
Hopefully later on in the season.
Yeah, let's do that because there is a lot to talk about there. So just to wrap things up for this episode before we close things down, there is one more thing I want to get to. Bob, just tell me if you can hear this as I back away from the microphone. Let me know how this. Let's go Phillies. Let's go Phillies. Did that come off as difficult to you? Did that come off as painful in any way? What are your thoughts on what I just did there?
I would probably do that at like a Flyers game or a Sixers game.
Bob, you know how I feel about the wave at
you love it, yeah.
No,
don't lie to people. You love it.
I was so happy yesterday because I watched people in the upper right field area trying to start the wave, and they got like a section or two over. It wasn't working. It died, and I smiled. I was so happy that they didn't get it going.
Yeah,
it was
for people listening who know Andrew well, or people who don't know Andrew well. People some people like to make fun of people when they fall down. Andrew likes making fun of people when they can't pull off a wave. That's his joy in life. It's just like he loves sunshine and rainbows. He loves when people can't get the wave started at baseball games.
It is the most asinine thing to do at a game when your team. I will excuse it if the team is down by like 10 runs and it's just miserable and there's just no hope
This
left.
is my DH argument, but just as edge. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna go do some laundry or something.
I'll try to keep it short and sweet because there's a more major point I want to make here. But anyway, save the wave for when the Phillies are down like 15-3 against whatever team it's going to be. Anyway, I think it was the Friday night game against the Cardinals, and it might have been because these guys were right up against the field mic or whatever they had going on. Mm-hmm. All you heard almost the entire game was the Eagles chant, and I'm not even going to do it because I don't want to do it. I'm not. I hardly watch NFL anymore, and even when I did, I wasn't an Eagles fan. So take that for what it's worth. Maybe I'm just being a curmudgeon. But
old man yells at clouds.
If you're gonna go to a Phillies game, don't start an Eagles chant. If you start an Eagles chant at a Phillies game, your fan card should be revoked. I'm sorry. If you participate, your fan card's revoked. You're not a Phillies fan. And when they win, I don't want you to be a part of it. I hate it. If you're going to go to a Phillies game, watch the team play, support them when they're, doing well, and if they're down, boo them, whatever. But how hard is it to do what I just did? Because I've seen the argument where, oh, well, the Phillies don't have a cool chant or they don't have, whatever. I don't care. Make up your own. Be creative. Do something. Or just go with the Phillies chant. Boo the team. Cheer. Whatever. If you're starting an Eagles chant at a Phillies game, it's just, in my opinion, it's disrespectful. I mean, the players that are on the field that hear that, and when it is, because in that Cardinals game, if it was the game I'm thinking of, whatever it was, that it was still a close game. It wasn't like the team was getting blown out or anything like that. So it's just cheer for the team you're there watching. The pitcher on the mound, the guy at the plate, they're going to be thinking, these guys don't care about me. You know what? You're not going to feel the need to put any more effort into your game when you're hearing, these fans cheering for a team, A, that's not even playing, and B, from all I understand, is not going to be very good for a few years to come, with everything going on. So it just, which makes it even worse. So when they won the, I almost said World Series, when they won the Super Bowl in 17, I get it. There's a ton of excitement coming off of that. It's, it is what it is. But right now, I mean, come on. And again, I add all these caveats. I'm not an NFL fan. I wasn't even an Eagles fan. I'm bleed Phillies red through and through, which technically everybody does. But I just can't stand it. It's disrespectful. I feel like it's almost disrespectful to me as someone there trying to watch the Phillies and enjoy this team that I came to pay for. And
well, Andrew, I am against you on the wave. I think the wave is fun, but I am with you on this. I love all sports in Philly, all four teams. But it annoys me because it happens not just Phillies games, it happens in Flyers games and Sixers games. It's just annoying, and I hate it. Probably the largest fan base in the city are the Eagles, so I get it. There's flat out more Eagles fans than there are fans of any other three sports in the city, especially when their teams aren't doing as great. The Eagles could be bottom of the barrel and still sell at the stadium just because of the fans. And but yeah, I agree. I keep the Eagles chants away. Just keep them for Eagles games. Although I did hear some Fire Howie chants, which I can't argue with.
There was Fire Howie, and I think there was an F the Cowboys thing going on. So.
Oh, well, I mean, F the Cowboys. That's evergreen.
Something everyone can agree on.
Everybody can agree on. Everybody loves to hate the Cowboys. So
I'm
cool with that.
Yeah, like I said, it's just okay. We're probably spending too much time on this, so I will leave.
But I love your passion.
I will leave this conversation with this. If you partake in an Eagles chant at a Phillies game, I have lost all respect for you. I have lost all respect for you. I just no thank you. So for the actual end of our show here, Let's look ahead as we have already, but we'll look ahead at the upcoming series the Phillies have. As we said, they go out to Colorado for 3 games, and then we get to play the San Francisco Giants once again, and then we're done with them for the season.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's off the top of my head. I believe that's how it works. Every non-division opponent, you just play series at home and a series on the road. So that'll be it for San Fran for the year, and it's pretty funny. We'll be done with them, and we haven't played a game
I would love to get out to
against
San Fran and see a game one day. That seems like a nice ballpark out there.
But yeah, we haven't played the Nationals or the Marlins yet, and I think it's pretty funny. We'll be done with San Fran, but so yes, as I said, Vince Velasquez gets the start in Friday's game, which could be interesting with the amount of offense that can take that can happen in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get Aaron Nola, fresh off of his first complete game shutout. He will get the start in that Saturday game at 8:00 Eastern game, and then we wrap up Sunday with Chase Anderson going in that afternoon game. So, and then as I said, from there they wait a minute.
Gotta go to St. Louis. I'm looking at it now. They go to St. Louis.
Wow.
Andrew messed up.
Wow, what was I looking at? What did they think they were gonna? Wow.
I was with you all the way, and I looked at the schedule. Yeah, they are off to St. Louis.
Well, it's funny because I have my phone out right now because this is how I'm, looking at who the starting pitchers are. And I click ahead to Monday, April 26th, and I see Cardinals. I'm like, hold on, are they making up a game? What's going on here? Wow, I apologize.
I apologize to the fans. I apologize to people.
Yeah, I apologize for this. I don't apologize for the people who I've lost respect for doing an Eagles game at a Phillies or an Eagles shade at a Phillies game. So yes, the Phillies go to play the St. Louis Cardinals for the second set of games on this road trip. Zach Wheeler starts game 1 in a 7:45 Eastern start, and then as of now, Tuesday and Wednesday's game, we do not know the starters. Assuming Tuesday will be Eflin, and then Wednesday would either be Velasquez or, depending on how Friday's game goes, could be Spencer Howard. We'll see.
We'll see.
So any, last time you made a prediction on a road trip, as we recapped in our last episode, it didn't go too well.
I think I nailed it.
So any prediction for this 6-game trip? Or is it 7 and I'm wrong again?
I think, hold on, let me look, because it's...
It is 7. Wow, wrong again.
Wow.
I call myself a Phillies fan. 7-game trip. 3 games in Colorado, 4 games in St. Louis. What's your prediction?
So, my prediction for the 7-game road trip is 4-3. I think it's very hard. 4-game series are very hard. Usually it's a split, or it's hopefully maybe they can get 3 out of 1, but I think they would split this. And I think they get 2 out of 3 in Colorado. So I'm going to say 4-3 on the road trip.
Okay.
Andrew?
Yeah. So looking at that Colorado series, I don't have high hopes for that Friday game, but you do have Nola and who'd we say? Chase Anderson's going on the Sunday game. So you have to chalk the Nola game up to a win, and I'd like to think they could take one of the other 2. Colorado is it's such a wild card.
They're 6-12, but I'm really hoping that they pull off a win the Friday Saturday, because Sunday it's Chase Anderson, who we talked about, doesn't get deep in the games. He's only lasted to the 5th once, and he's up against Sonny Gray, who has an ERA of 2.45 right now. So that's going to be a tough matchup. So I'm hoping they can kind of squeak the 2 wins in on the Friday Saturday. But and then I feel fairly confident with St. Louis. We did have a good battle this past weekend, and we took 2 out of 3. So I'm very confident we can at least split. Or who knows? Maybe we take 3 out of 4, which would be awesome.
Yeah. You know what? Right now, as I think about it, I'm leaning. I think they go 1-2 in Colorado because that ballpark just is so frustrating to me, and I can see them, losing a couple on some annoying things. But yeah, I actually like the sound of 3 out of
Stupid
4.
dinosaur to have. Oh, I hate that mascot.
I like the sound of 3 out of 4 in St. Louis. Like you said,
wow.
we were just able to take 2 out of 3, and I think we've fared well in St. Louis over the last couple of years. So, yeah, I will agree with 4-3 on this road trip. I think you had 2 wins in each series. I'm going with 1 win against the Rockies and then 3 from St. Louis, and we'll see.
Okay.
We could both be very wrong, but
Let's hope not.
Yeah, I guess you'll have to tune in next week to find out our reactions on that. So thank you everyone for listening. If you followed us on social media at all, you've seen that we're branching out more and more. There are plans to expand onto other social media platforms and onto other websites that you may listen to podcasts on. So keep an eye out for that. Bob,
Yeah.
any last thoughts on here?
You know what? Once again, I said this I think I say this every week, but I'm so glad baseball is back. Especially a full season.
Yeah.
Last year sucked. I am just hey, Bryce Harper, JT Ruto, offense is coming. Just bring in Scoop Hug. Let's hit the ball. Let's get on base. Let's hit the ball. We talked about how good of a lineup this is early on, and you're not doing that consistently. Can you just please?
Bob,
please.
I'm going to do something controversial here, and I'm going to agree. I would also like the Phillies to hit more. I think that might lead to some more wins. I'm just saying. I think it could work.
Galaxy brain here. We're both just like, woo!
Well, yes. Once again, thank you everyone who is tuned in and listening and helping to support us by sharing our posts. We appreciate it. So I will leave us with just so everybody understands what they could do at a Phillies game instead of what they are doing. Let's go Phillies. Let's go Phillies.